Hey there, this is Derek from Pacific Coast Auto in Japan, and we're looking at a 2003 Nissan Fairlady with 140,000 kilometers on it. 3.5 liter V6 engine, that's the VQ35. And this one was bought from auction here in Japan for export over to Canada under the 15-year import rule. And we'll check out the condition of the car and compare it to the auction inspection sheet. Overall, I think this one was a good buy. Mechanically, everything appears to be pretty good. The problems mentioned on the auction sheet are not so much of an issue in my opinion. And the body is great. Interior has a little bit of damage to the seat, but for 140,000 kilometers, it's looking good. 6-speed manual in this, 280 horsepower, 2-seat coupe. Kind of maybe becoming the next popular drift car now that these cars over here are so few and far between. Okay, so before we get into that, I just want to mention this. On the auction inspection sheet, it says suspension area rust, so I'm going to talk about that before I lower the hood. Oil and coolant both look okay. Everything in here is original except for the Nismo oil cap. Are you getting extra power for that? No, but you are getting extra looks. Open the hood and everyone would be like, wow, Nismo. Now the suspension area rust, the only rust I could really think of is some surface rust that's on the steel mount piece for the strut tower brace. You can see it right there. There also is a tiny bit of rust inside here that may be a little bit difficult, but I got another video to showcase that. It's quite mild. It doesn't look like it's going to be a problem, but of course it is going to Canada. You're going to want to get that touched up before you drive too much in Canada. We'll close the hood here. And then we'll go over the auction inspection sheet. Oops. Okay, I think people generally agree that the Fairlady Z is going to become a very popular car over the next 5 or 10 years. Nissan sports cars have a history of being very popular and sought after as they get older. And like I said, the S13s, S14s, S15s, they're all getting pretty hard to come by in good condition now. And Nissan sold plenty of these cars. Exhaust on the back. There was a special request on this one to get a vroom vroom of the exhaust. And I did get that. It's a Fujitsubo exhaust, dual exhaust. Sounds awesome. Sorry, I just turned off the car. Should I get you an exhaust sound? I guess so. I'm at the port. Don't have any neighbors to be angry. I will say though, it required a jump in order to get started, so we'll be lucky if we can get it started here. Oh, and it's one of those very few cars in Japan that require the clutch pedal to be pushed, so. Let's see, what key? Here we go. I put in a different Nissan key. Yes, we could start it. And that means you get to hear the vroom vroom. Here we go. Okay, so I'd say it's a pretty good sound for an aftermarket, and it's not too noisy like many of the aftermarket exhausts are. It is what they consider a JASMA exhaust, which means it is certified for passing compliance here in Japan. Okay, so this one here is the version T of the Fairlady. This is the lower grade one. Now mechanically they're the same, the lower grade one. The only thing I can think of are, this one has the standard sliding 2-piece calipers, whereas the version ST and the version S both come with the Brembo calipers. You end up paying about an extra $1,000 for those ones with the Brembo calipers on them. This can be a great way to get into a Fairlady, and these brakes work great. The Brembos, they are better. They're not really, I don't know, I can't really say this with much authority, but I believe that they're not as good as going and getting an actual Brembo aftermarket kit. These factory Brembo kits tend to be a good step up, not really racing spec though. Anyways, this is an auction grade 4 with an interior exterior C. 140,000 kilometers, 6-speed manual transmission, and maybe the S and ST versions, maybe they come with the LST. I'm not too sure about that, but this one doesn't seem to have one. Original pearl paint. It appears to be in fairly good condition with the one There is a repainted whole side here. The door, fender, both fenders and the door. And then the front fender has some bubbling. I'll show you that right now. A little bit of bubbling around here. And a little bit more down here. Now the rest of the paint appears to be good. That kind of bubbling comes when the paint wasn't prepped properly and there's some contamination on it. Okay, so the only sales point is that it was purchased from user. The report here says the seat is ripped, a small rip, and has wear on it. Steering wheel has a lot of wear. Fender edges have been bent or rolled, and that's actually causing one of the problems with some rust over here. Okay, the bumper underside is scratched. I got some pictures of that. Suspension area rust. Rocker cover underside scratched. I got some pictures, couldn't really find the scratches. Aftermarket shift knob, it's Nismo. Aftermarket exhaust, it's FGK, Fujitsu. Aftermarket suspension, and I don't know which brand that it is. As you can see, it has been lowered, and it is on original wheels and winter tires. Let's see if we can see that suspension. I pointed the camera up there, so check that video and see if that's possible to see. Or is it possible to see? I'm just throwing the camera underneath the car here. So you might be able to see that. It might be Nismo brand because they had the Nismo shift knob and the fuel filler or the oil filler cap. So maybe it is. And then winter tires on this one, and then Navi panel one piece is missing, which I'll show you in a sec. Here we got some paint damage, which I couldn't find. There is a crack like a paint crack in the front bumper, but that's not what a P1 would usually be. X1 is a crack in the windshield. I'll show you in a sec. Some rust here. I couldn't really find the U2 over here, but the B2 is around the fender. It looks like it was a mistake in rolling the fender. So, quick look at the crack in the windshield, and this is pretty much exactly what you can expect for most cracks in windshields. Right between my fingers there. So a lot of people don't mind the gloves. I don't normally do fingerless gloves. This is a work-only thing. I'm not one of those, rocking fingerless gloves on purpose kind of guys. Or maybe I am, actually. Maybe you'll have to find out. Maybe next time that you meet me, you'll have to say, hey, can I look at your gloves? And I'll show you. Anyway, the white color looks good. The pearl white is good. It's a nice amount of metallic, not a ton of pearl in it, and I think that's good. I'm a little bit sick of pearl whites compared to just whites. When pearl white became a thing, a lot of the whites went out the window, and I like a metallic white. It's a very nice color, like the color of my car, but not that one. Okay, headlights, a little bit cloudy. That's life nowadays. Headlights get cloudy. You can fix these. They're not damaged far enough that they can't be fixed. Nice big badge. This is now Nissan's older badge. They have a new badge now that kind of lights up. Some peeling on the badge I'm showing you there. The paint crack in the front bumper is right here. You can see there. Okay. Coming down here, you're looking pretty clean, even though this part has been repainted. This yellow, I think that's the same kind of yellow as they use to write on the windshield here at the port. I think they just made a mistake and dripped some on the car. Okay, so the other side, it says S1. This side also has a little bit that was missed in the auction sheet. You can see right here there's a bit of bubbling. This again was caused by the rolling of the fender, and inside they cracked the paint. And so you're going to want to take these wheels off and get at with a wire brush the underside and then repaint it so that it doesn't rust again. The reason why you roll your fenders is because this here, the fender comes down and then it goes in at about a 90-degree angle, and it usually goes in about 1.5 centimeters to 2 centimeters, and this is area that you could be using to fit bigger wheels and tires. You can kind of see here a little bit of where it started to rust, but the other side is worse. Got a couple of minor scratches there, a little bit of flex cracking there, and I thought there was something else on the rear bumper, but maybe not. This is a little bit weird. There's a winter wiper here. If you touch it, it's crunchy inside. Like, shouldn't really be crunchy. Like, the wiper has deteriorated inside. It's very strange. It needs to be replaced. He also has some fade on the handle. Okay. Coming down here, here's your U2 area. You can see there's a paint crack, also some rust in that area. And again, this one may need to to have a little bit of like body repair in order to fix it. I can't say it was like, I think that this was predictable considering it said rolled fenders and S1 in the rear fender. So this is about what I would have expected. Okay, this one has two 35s on the rear and two 25s on the front. I checked inside the door. This is the size for the 17-inch wheels. If it's 18-inch wheels, it's a 225 and 245. I'm not sure why you get a wider tire for the 18s. Plastic here has come up a little bit, so it looks like it's a dripping paint, but it's not. You can actually move that around a little bit. You probably have to replace that in order to fix it. Okay, and the rest of it is good. So all the way around, I'd say pretty good looking. It does have these issues around the back fenders, and that's pretty much the biggest issue. Into the trunk, I'll show you here. You pop down here. Where is it? Yeah. Right there. Pop it up. You get a kind of strange thing with the trunk. They have a strut tower brace to give you more body rigidity, and it takes up a good portion of your trunk. And so I guess they decided that a good driving car is better than luggage room. And then you can explain that to everybody. Hey, how come there's a big bar here? Well, it makes my car handle even better. Underneath here, there's no rust or anything. It might be a little bit difficult to put it back in place with just one hand, so I won't pull it up all the way. Close that off. Seats and interior. Plenty of space on the interior, but I wish the seats would go back a little bit more. It's comfortable for me, but anyone who's a little bit bigger than me might be a little bit tight. Now, I usually put most seats in the full back position, and they are perfect. So this one's maybe a little bit tighter because of that. Side to side, you have a lot of room, and I feel with aftermarket seats, you can remedy that. I tend to like to have the pedals very far away from me and the steering wheel pretty close, so a very upright seat. This is actually a little bit more lean back than I like it. Seat has the typical leather cracks that you get. You can absolutely recondition this, and the rip is in a vinyl spot, not a leather spot. And it looks about regular amount of wear for this age of a car. Here you can see some of the vinyl down here. So it's half leather, half vinyl. Some pieces like this are leather, vinyl. This piece here. And there's a rip here and a rip here. And then a worn section there and down in there. No bad smell inside the interior, which is good. Door panels, very large section of plastic. And this is really reminiscent of the 240Z or the Fairlady 240Z. I think it's like stylistically supposed to be like that. I think the new Z, I haven't seen any on the road yet. I'm curious to see them more often. I feel like every time they get more powerful, it kind of takes a little bit away from the car. And I love a naturally aspirated car. And I know a lot of people like the turbo cars, especially turbo 400 horsepower, but I feel like this one might be more enjoyable to drive just because you can use that power more. With 400 horsepower, you're going the speed limit really quickly. And it's fun to go fast in a straight line to get to that speed limit. It's more fun to play around with edge and revs, in my opinion. Okay, so all of this is basic economy car style stuff in a sports car package. That's kind of what sports cars are. They don't give you too much stuff because lightweight and fun of driving is what it's for. Now, the cover piece that's missing, there's a slide out piece that comes out and then flips down. And I don't know, it says like Z or something on it. Pardon my sniffles, it's very cold today, hence the fingerless gloves. Shift knob is quite short and notchy. And Nismo, it says on the top. And carbon fiber. Feels good to shift. I feel like this one feels maybe even a little bit better to shift than usual. I felt some of them are a little bit gummy feeling. Like they're always like responsive and springy like this, but a little bit gummy feeling from time to time. And I feel like the clutch is like that sometimes too. This clutch feels good. Okay, don't think it's been smoked in. You get heated seats. I know that's not on all of them. Inside here has a couple of cup holders. A place for your sunglasses, but because of course you need to put on sunglasses when you're driving this. LEDs have been changed for the lights up there. Plenty of headroom, I think. That's a good thing about this. A lot of sports coupes don't give you much. So this one, over my head, I've got that much, which is a reasonable amount. I think the seat is, let's see. Yeah, the seat's in the lowest position. And then if you do need more headroom, you can always lower the back of the seat more, or aftermarket seats. So there's a broken piece of the plastic trim here. I've never seen that before, so I wouldn't say that that's necessarily a weak point. And I think that's pretty much it for the interior. So that's pretty much it for the everything. Okay, so hope you enjoyed this review of the cars. It went on a little bit longer than I wanted to, but such is life. It's a one-take video, so whatever. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and have a nice day.